Hi everybody, it's Beth here at the City Museum, and I have a question for you. Do you know what a cranky is? I'm going to give you a hint. It has something to do with this cranking mechanism and a box. But before we get any further, let's take a look at things through the lens of history. Now, before global media technology was around to entertain us and show us the world, there was some pretty cool things developed, like this stereoscope. And by looking through this and having a card with a double picture print on it, I could see an image from somewhere else in the world in 3D. Pretty cool. Now the Cranky, as you'll see, is another way to entertain and experience the world visually without modern technology or setting off on some far-flung expedition to a place way far away. Think of it as a way to teleport yourself and others without leaving the comfort of your own home. But let's learn a little bit more about some important artistic inventions and scientific concepts. And let's start with the panorama. So the word panorama is derived from two Greek words, pan, meaning all, and orama, meaning view. And it entered into the English language in the late 1700s with Robert Barker's invention and later patent of an apparatus for exhibiting pictures, which took an all-encompassing view of nature at a glance. Now, Barker's proposal was to exhibit a painted landscape in a 360-degree view on a circular canvas strip surrounding the viewer. These paintings were exhibited in a round viewing structure, which we also call a rotunda, and therefore was able to isolate and control what it was possible to see. Now, Barker wasn't taking the picture out of the frame. He was making the frame big enough to include the spectator as well. Now, one of the oldest rotundas built to exhibit panoramas is the Panorama Mesdag, located in The Hague, Netherlands. It is a lifelike painting by Hendrik Wilhelm Mesdag that instantly transports visitors to a day at a seaside village on the North Sea. Now, if you have a smartphone, it's pretty easy to create a panorama. Just flip to the pano setting in your camera and you can put a frame around an all-encompassing view of nature or whatever else might be the focus of your photo. Hey, let's go outside and check out how to make a panorama with your phone. Okay, so now we're outside here at the State Office Building ready to try our 360 panorama with our phones. But first, let's just remember 360 degrees means a complete circle. So from here, we have to go all the way around back to the camera. Okay? So now, let's try it with our phones. Okay, now I've got my camera ready on the pano function on my phone, and it wants me to move this direction to take the pano. Here we go. And there you go. That's how you take a pano with your phone. Well, that was pretty fun, but we still don't really know how this cranking mechanism and this box comes into it yet. Well, we'd likely post that picture we just took to social media, and that platform would let you move around the panorama. Back in the 18th century, you had to go to one of these rotundas to view the panoramic paintings. So eventually then, during the 19th century, another device was invented that was easy to pack up and take on the road. And this ushered in an era of moving panoramas, which was more closely related to a theatrical event. Instead of walking around this big rotunda to view the panorama, the audience was seated in the front of a stage, and on stage was a boxed area with a window. And then during the performance, a long strip of canvas was moved horizontally across the stage by means of a cranking mechanism. The images created either were one continuous panoramic scene or perhaps a series of distinct views. Someone usually stood next to the apparatus and explained the images or just told a story. Often music was added, and just like that, the audience was transported to another place as the scenery changed to present a combination of images, speech, and sounds. Now, one of the earliest touring moving panorama shows, beginning in 1818, was the Perestrophik Panorama, created by showmen known as the Marshall Brothers, and it depicted actual events like battles and a shipwreck and a polar expedition, and even the coronation of King George IV, the most popular one of all. Now, here in America, painter and storyteller John Banvard created a moving panorama of the Mississippi River that was shown around the United States in the 1840s. Now, needless to say, this sort of traveling entertainment was a huge success. However, the novelty did wear off after the Civil War, and when cinema came along in the 1890s, this new entertainment of moving pictures ended the interest in the moving panoramas. So modern cinema owes much to the moving panorama shows of the 1800s, and today a smaller version of the moving panorama has been revived, and they are known as Crankies. Here's an example of a Crankie that we made here at the City Museum. You can see we've used a tissue box and decorated it for our box, and we've created a cranking mechanism out of this spindle and dowels. And just for added effect, I'm going to put in my flashlight phone behind this beautiful artwork of the Northern Lights to give it some illumination. Now let's try it. So there you go. That was pretty cool. And you might have noticed it took a little time to scroll through that whole panorama, that moving panorama that we've been talking about. And you'll notice these beautiful northern lights, which will teach you a little bit more about how to make something similar in a later video. Now, the other thing that's still missing might be a poem or some music or a story about a night you spent out under the northern lights, whatever you choose to do. So let's get ready and make a Crankie out of some of these really easy things to find around your house, like tissue boxes, or you can just give us a call here at the City Museum for a kit to help get you started on a new, old way to entertain your friends and family. So have fun, and we look forward to seeing and hearing about your adventures through your Crankies.